I mean, it's cyclical. I mean, from 1910 or so to about 1970, 1980, arguably, you had a 70-year run of the arts in America that I don't think any other country has ever had. And if
Yeah,
you
I've
look
heard
at
you say that
literature,
before. Yeah.
if you look at films, I put it at 1980 when Reagan came in to be president. Everything got dumbed down. Everything got dumbed down.
Mm.
You know, people who complain about political correctness rose as a direct opposition to Reaganism. So if you're some right wing troglodyte who wants to complain about political correctness, it got its start as direct opposition to Reagan. Now, I'm not a believer in the government sponsoring the arts because that doesn't work, but the reason that things got so bad was uh, directly because of Reaganism, and it's just who knows what it's going to be. Um, uh, Alex Sherman, for example, apparently is doing well in his non-arts career financially, and he says he's gonna start a press maybe in a couple of years, and me and my wife Jessica and a few other people in the Cosmoetica sort of circle are going to be the people that he would publish. But again, it would be a small press. But who knows? It could be someone like you or some other artist, maybe some kid who's 16 years old who's going to find Cosmoetic in 5 years, read all the stuff, and then in a few years after that is going to contact like you, and maybe this kid actually knows about art, and maybe this kid has connections, or he's one, and these little things, it's the butterfly effect. Something happens, and uh, who knows? Well, one of the things I'd love to do is I'd love to find a documentary filmmaker in this age that we live in, the Netflix age. There are so many bad documentaries. I remember some woman. I call them vanity documentaries. They're wrote. I remember, or she'd made a film about her father, and there was absolutely nothing noteworthy about the father. No reason for the film to be made, but it got onto Netflix or whatnot, and I'm sure it got seen by probably a few 100,000 people. Now, as many hits as I've gotten on Cosmoetica, a good example is on my YouTube channel. I get 1/1000th the traffic because it's a totally different medium. It's like why did most silent film stars not make it in the sound era? It's a different medium. Why did most radio stars not make it in television? It's a different medium. And in a sense, Cosmoetica got lucky in that it preceded blogs in 2001. Blogs didn't come along until about 03, 04, and it sort of rode the blog wave of the 15, 16 years ago, got popular, and it's sort of always, and now Cosmoetica is basically, because I don't put anything written up there anymore for like since 15 or 16, so it's been 5 or 6 years since I put something up there. Um, but so I've been doing the interviews. And my hope too is that someone might want to do a documentary on Cosmoetica or my work, but also too that someone could find all of these interviews I do with people, and even even if I wasn't an artist, my 333 right now Dan Schneider video interviews, the stuff I have on YouTube, again, there's no one that I know of. I mean, I've seen interview series where people will interview people all in one field. Like I'm going to interview people who are brain psych, social psychologists, or people who are computer savvy or whatnot. And I see a lot of those interviews, and some of the interviews are passable. Most of them are terrible interviewers. But if you look at a lot of the stuff, the people I interview, I mean, I get a lot of people who will, after the interview, or even sometimes in the body of the interview, they'll say, "Wow, Dan, you ask questions no one else has asked me." A lot of times, someone might be 40 years in their field, and we're talking about something. I ask a question, and they don't know, have no idea. And I say, "How could you not know? How did this idea not get to you? You spent 30 or 40 years in your scientific field or your artistic field, and you never had that thought. You you had to listen to me bring it up to you." It amazes me sometimes, but then again, that's just how I approach life and look at things more differently than other people, I guess.
Mm. Let's see. Boy, let me see. Boy, so you just published it. You just did a book right now. Let's see here. So let's see. I'm a quarter of the way through Vincetti Brothers. I just finished Tumbleweed. So we can wrap it up a little bit. But let me just ask you a couple questions about Tumbleweeds real quick.
Okay.
So it's kind of interesting because I'm sure a lot of people are going to read True Life and then they're going to read Tumbleweeds. And like me, other people will read Tumbleweeds and they'll read True Life. And they'll see a lot of the parallels between your life and whatnot. How did you, let me back up. Let me ask another question.